When you're done with your wood boring bit, you can take your rubber mallet, take all your T-nuts and sink them in. Just continue this with all of them until they're just below the surface. Alright, once you have all your T-nuts sunk, you're going to flip your board over. And you can start mounting your hardware. Make sure that your wires are going to flip towards the inside of your feet, and then this guy's going to bow towards the back of the board. So these ones are a little more complicated to get going because this wire's trying to flex. So we're just going to shove it down there. Now it's time to mount the pucks. You're going to take the templates from Voile. You're going to make sure the board is very tight together. Make sure your pivoting hooks are really tight. And then you're going to pay attention to the regular foot or the goofy foot notations on the templates. Also the degrees, so you can use the center of your board to measure that. So I have on my back foot and my front foot. So what I'm going to do now is take my center punch, and I'm going to do all 8 targets. Alright, now you can take your templates off. And just like we did before, you're going to use a 1/8 drill bit as a pilot bit, and then you're going to use the 1964 to finish them off. Now that we have all our holes drilled, we're going to take this 3/4 inch wood boring bit on the bottom of the board and take off just enough for those T-nuts to go under the surface. Now just like before, we're going to take our T-nuts and we're going to sink them into the bottom of the rubber mallet. Now again, once your T-nuts are all sunk, you can flip the board over, and then we can mount our pucks. And you're just going to use the provided screws and a Phillips head. Alright, now it's time to put on the tip clips. So I'm going to use a clamp to squeeze the board again together very tight. Put my template on so it's at the top of the board, and then I'm going to center punch the 2 holes. Then I can take off my template. I'm going to take a 3/16 bit and drill both of these through. Now we can go outside and I can show you how I do the rivets. Alright, to install your tip clips, it's easiest to find some cement stairs. I put a towel down so I don't scratch my board. You're going to take one of your rivets and put it through your tip clip. And then you're going to take the other rivet, put the spacer in between, and then push it through. Let's flip the board over. Now I put quarters under these when I hit each one. That way it doesn't move, and it's not going to scratch your board. It's just on the top of the rivet. Now this came in your Voile kit, so you're going to put that in there. Take a hammer, just hit a couple times, and move your quarters over to the other one. And just like that, you have a tip clip, and it works great. Now before we apply the epoxy, we're going to use some sandpaper, and we're going to sand down the tops of all these T-nuts. That way the epoxy will stick. Alright, now that I have a clean surface that's all sanded, I'm going to start applying my epoxy. I use a combination of this syringe and just a black spatula to get the epoxy down in all the crevasses. You want to use as much epoxy as you feel like using, which hopefully is a lot, because it will sink down, and then you'll come back later and you'll wonder why it's not full. Also, you want to apply enough epoxy the first time around, because if you have to come back and apply more, it does not stick as well. So we're going to put a lot on here. In the end, you're going to come back and either cut this off with a razor blade or sand it. It's up to you. So yeah, you're going to fill all your T-nuts just like this. The Voile kit came with some of these P-Tex sliders, and you can, if you left enough room, you can put epoxy down and then put the P-Tex right over it. I don't like leaving a lot of room. The epoxy doesn't slow me down at all, so I'm not too worried about it. But these things are pretty cool if you decide to use them. Once you've let the epoxy sit for 12 hours, you want to take a razor blade and you can start chipping off the outsides around these. And once you've chipped off all the surrounding epoxy, you want to take a block and some sandpaper and sand them until they're flush with the board. You want to do this with all your epoxy. Alright, well, our split board is done. I want to show you these light rail bindings by Voile. They're really sweet, they're super lightweight, and as you can see they're really close to the board. So it's more like riding a regular snowboard in the backcountry, so that's really nice. I'm going to show you how they work real quick. They slide right up, nice and easy. And then we're going to take apart our board. And then put them right back on. It's so fast changing these in the backcountry. They're pretty much amazing. And then there you go. You have your climbing block, and great for hiking. Another part I want to show you. I always have these in the backcountry because you never know when you're going to need them. These crampons, also from Voile. They slide on just almost the same way. You can attach them to your binding like I have here, or you can put them straight down on the bottom of your board, just like that. So you have these nice crampons for the icy conditions. And then again, to switch it back into board mode, these things are super fast. I could not live without them. And you just put these guys back in and you're done. Thanks for watching. I'd also like to thank Voile and Salomon for making this happen. They both make great products, so please support them. And have fun. Don't screw up your board. And I'm not responsible if you do.